Hey there, my name is Katie, and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. If you're new to my channel, we welcome you, and we are so glad you're here to join us. Last week, I put out a video that was making little jellies in individual jars to give out for Christmas presents, and I thought I'd kind of go along with that theme, and we would do some Christmas candies. Um, I know it's kind of early, but there's Christmas decorations out in the stores, and it's time to start preparing, making a game plan if you're wanting to make homemade treats for all your friends and family for Christmas. So today we're going to have some Christmas candies. I've put out a video previously with some Christmas candies, and I will leave that up here in the cards above on some other options for Christmas candies and just kind of get your wheels going and thinking about what you can do and making treats for your friends and family. So we're going to start off with peanut brittle, and be doing that at the stovetop. But I do have a box of um, brownie mix baking in the oven. Well, not a box, but I whipped it up from the recipe in the oven, and you could use homemade recipe. I just thought we'd use a quick brownie mix to make this, since we're just making some quick treats to give out to our friends and family. And you know, if it's Christmas time, just sometimes you have to be quick and just get some things done because you're busy. It's a busy time with spending lots of time with your friends and family. So hopefully you like these recipes and you want to give them a try and share them with your loved ones. So let's get started. All right, just a little disclaimer here. I do have a cut on my finger, so I'm going to wear a glove on this hand just because of where the cut is located right here on my fingertip. I just don't want it to affect anything. So in my pot here, this is for peanut brittle. I do have it turned on like a medium. I'm going to put a cup of sugar. I'm going to put a half a cup of corn syrup. This is pretty much the only time I use corn syrup is to make this. If you watch my pecan pie video, I used agave nectar this year. Last year I used maple syrup instead of corn syrup. So this is the only thing, like the brownies. You know what? When you're having these special treats at Christmas time, it's okay. Just do it in moderation. So we have a half a cup of corn syrup here. Get these going. Next we're going to add 1 cup of raw peanuts. These are raw because we are going to cook them in our sugar syrup mixture. So these are raw peanuts, not toasted, not roasted. So 1 cup. And because we always need sweet with our, or salty with our sweet, we're going to add some salt to this because these again are not roasted and salted. These are raw peanuts. So we're going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, maybe a little more. And I try to get everything out and measured when I get this started because it's going to move fast once it gets going. So sprinkle this salt in here, maybe a tad bit more. And what I'm going to do, if I have granite countertops, so I'm going to do this on my countertop. But if you don't have that, you can use a sheet pan that's greased. And but what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some avocado oil on my countertop so that this doesn't stick. What we're going to do is we're going to cook this and stirring pretty much continuously so it does not burn, because sugar can burn very easily. And we need to get this to a temperature of well, it just says hard crack stage. I'm going to have to research that real quick. Alright, so the hard crack stage is between 300 and 310 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are going to cook this until we get to that temperature. And like I said, once we hit that temperature, this will move quick. once we do get to that temperature, we're going to add about 2 teaspoons of butter. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of baking soda. So I have my butter already measured out. I'm going to have my baking soda here. I'm going to have my vanilla here. I have my thermometer to check my temperature. I do not have a candy thermometer, that's why I had to Google it. Just a meat thermometer, but it checks the temperature just the same. But I like this one because it's instant read. I'm going to go ahead and spray my countertop. Just make sure that when you're cooking this, that you don't have any kids or pets under your feet, and that's going to trip you up or anything, because this can burn you very easily and very badly. And because it is something that's very sticky, it's hard to get off and stop that burning process quickly. I worked on the burn unit. If you don't know, I'm a nurse. I did work on the burn unit for almost 2 years, and it's not a very pretty sight when somebody gets burned by something like this. So just be very careful when you're cooking this. And this is the hardest part, is just standing here stirring this and babysitting it, because it really does move fast after. And I've been cooking this for about 7 minutes so far. So this is really the hardest part. So I have my little instant read thermometer, and it flips back and forth. I love this thermometer. So if I flip this way, it shows. If I flip this way, I'm not sure if you can see, it's pointing towards me, and it flips the time around, or the temperature. Make sure when you're measuring your temperature, you're not touching the bottom of your pot, because that will be hotter than the middle. So we're at about 263. We have a little ways to go. Again, we're trying to get between 300 and 310. We'll just keep stirring. All right, there's our brownies coming out. Make sure when you're stirring the sides of the pot, the bottom of the pot, everything. What I usually do, so I know if I'm at the bottom or not, is I will purposely touch the bottom and then just pull it back up a little bit. And move it around and check other spots. Okay, so here we are, 307. All right, turning the fire off. What I usually do is I drop my butter in first. See, I just touched my finger with that, and that was hot. Stir my butter in. My fire is off. Now be careful with your vanilla, because it will bubble up. Just be super careful. And now our baking soda. I'll just say. 1 teaspoon. Let me get all that in there. And this will really start bubbling up when you put that baking soda in there. Alright, we're going to move the camera over so you can see me pour it out. Alright, here we go. My greased counter. I'm just going to pour it out of here.
And it starts cooling pretty quick and stiffening up. So I like to just spread it out as quickly as possible. This is what I like to put on the counter because the counter, granite, always stays pretty cold. And so it cools it off pretty quick. Alright, and we'll let this sit and cool completely. And we'll move on to our next recipe as our brownies are cooling also. Alright, so the next thing we're going to make is some chocolate covered pretzels. And what I used, if you watched my last video, you saw this almond bark. If you're not familiar with it, this comes in like a regular chocolate colored chocolate. They're not really chocolate. And then this is the white or vanilla flavored one. And we're going to use this. And what I'm going to do is to try and make them a little festive. I'm not going to do many today because I don't really need a lot today. Is I just took regular pretzels. Sometimes you can find like a Christmas tree shaped pretzel, or let me grab a fork, it makes it easier. I think the Christmas ones come like with a Christmas tree and maybe a bell, that kind of thing, just different Christmas symbols. And so what I usually do is I'll kind of tap my fork on here just to kind of get the excess off, and then drop them on here. Most people know how to make chocolate covered pretzels, but this is just one of my kids' favorites. Again, this is, like I said in the last video, I don't understand why I don't do this stuff throughout the year, but I don't. So one of the little different things I'm going to do is I have these pretzels that are peanut butter filled, if you can see that. I'm going to do some of these. Again, we're not going to do many today because I don't really need them today. If I was having a party, I'd do a bunch. And these I am going to do with my spoon because they're the nuggets. So I'll put these on here also. And when these dry, you can always break off any excess chocolate if it's like too much. Like this little bit here or here, you can always break those off when it dries. Alright, so I got these down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white one with a fork, and I don't want too much on here. I'm just going to kind of just fancy them up a little bit. And just kind of drizzle back and forth. And you, of course, you could do it the opposite direction too. You could do dip them in the white chocolate and then drizzle the brown chocolate over the top. Oop, that was way too much. That was not a drizzle. That one wasn't either. You just kind of want a squiggly, just to kind of fancy it up. And then these are the only little Christmas kind of sprinkles they had at Walmart. So whatever sprinkles, and then this is what I was saying about any festive time, like at Easter time, you could do Easter color sprinkles for a birthday party, for 4th of July. Anyway, just makes them a little decorative, like that. So there we go. All right, and now we're going to get our brownies finished up. So I'm going to move all this to the side, and we'll get our stuff for our brownies set up. Alright, so we're going to make our topping for our brownies, and like I said, you can do a boxed brownie or a homemade brownie, whatever it is, but you want to make sure that it's cooled completely. And now we're going to make the next layer for it. And in here I have a 1/4 cup of melted butter, and I have 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk in here. I don't know if y'all have seen these before. I've showed it once before maybe, but I love this little measuring cup. It does small amounts of liquid, so like it does tablespoons and teaspoons. It kind of converts them for you, tablespoons and teaspoons and ounces. I really like this, so I'm going to pour my 2 tablespoons in here. Now what we're going to do, so typically my mom, this recipe, I don't know where my mom got this. Actually, it was my aunt. Now that I'm looking at it's a family cookbook that I'm getting this out of. This is my aunt's recipe, my Aunt Marilyn. I'm not sure where she got this recipe from, but the family cookbook is from, let me see, it's 1990, so it's pretty old. Anyway, it's usually vanilla extract that goes in here, but what I'm going to do to make it Christmassy is I'm going to add peppermint extract. Peppermint extract is going to smell just like, or taste just like a candy cane. And then mint extract is like spearmint. I don't have quite enough of the peppermint, so I'm actually going to mix the two. This will be a new little taste for me, but we'll need 1 teaspoon of either vanilla or if you're going to do the mint. So I'm going to dump what little peppermint I have left in here, which is hardly anything. And then I'm going to do the rest in my just mint, which again is spearmint. All right, I'll give this a little whisk. And next we're going to add 2 cups of powdered sugar. So this is a 1/2 cup measure. We're going to do 2 cups. I'm going to whisk this until it's smooth. Ooh, I can really smell that mint. Now, I'm not a big food dye person. If you don't mind food coloring, you could color this green or red if you wanted. Probably the green would look better than the red. But you could always dye this layer if you'd like. Just kind of scrape this out a little bit and then give it another whisk. I don't ever use gloves while cooking, but if you watch my last video, I talked about when you make these candies, you get covered in chocolate. It's actually been kind of nice not to have to get all the chocolate off my hands. All right, I put the brownies in the fridge to make sure they're cooled completely, and I'll get those out now. All right, just put this layer on the top. It's almost like a powdered sugar glaze for like a donut. And I'm going to use an offset spatula. If you don't have one of these, it looks like this. It just makes it easier to spread something than using a butter knife, which you could definitely use your spoon if you wanted or didn't have this. This makes the job a little bit easier. Of course, anything I use, like I've said in the past, I use it because I like it and I would fully recommend it. And so I leave little links in the description box of anything I use. So in case you want to get it and you don't have it, it just makes it easier for you to get it. You don't pay anything extra to use those links. It just helps my channel. So we're just going to spread this out evenly. And this too is one of those things that you could change it up for whatever you have going on. If you wanted to do coconut or almond. But I just thought with the Christmas, the mint would be very nice. You want to get it as smooth as possible because we're going to put a very thin chocolate layer over the top of this. So we're trying to just get it as smooth as possible. All right, so now I'm going to melt. So when it says squares of the baking chocolate, they're talking about this. And Of course, this cookbook is pretty old, and so I don't think they really come in the squares like they used to. Now I think they're in, yeah. So they're in these rectangles, and 2 of these rectangles would be 1 square. So we're going to melt 2 squares, or well, 4 rectangles, which would have been in the olden days 2 squares. So we're going to just break this off, and I'm going to put this in a measuring cup. And like the chocolate for the pretzels, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I know I did in my other video. When you heat chocolate in the microwave, 50% power, or it burns. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in a microwave safe dish along with 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to get this melted, and then we're going to put it over the top. It's going to make a shiny glaze on top. All right, we have our chocolate and our butter melted. What I'm going to do is just kind of drizzle it over the top. And now I'm going to grab another offset spatula. This one's a little bigger. I have 2 different sizes, and the other one's dirty, obviously, from the white layer, so I'm just going to use this one. And really, this is just a very thin coating. It's not really for, I mean, yeah, you're going to taste it, but it's not there for the majority of the taste of the brownies. It's really just there to make it a shiny, pretty layer and just kind of seal in that powdered sugar layer. So what we're going to do is, after we get all this spread, we are going to put this back in the fridge and let it set, because you don't want to cut it while it's still so soft. It will just kind of smear. You want them to be distinct layers when you go to cut it. This one might be a little big, this spatula for this pan. All right, we're going to get this in the fridge, and then when everything's cooled and set, we will taste it. All right, so here's our little platter. I just found a really pretty platter to put them on. You can see the pretzels, the peanut brittle, and those 3-layer brownies there. All right, we're going to give them a taste. I'm not going to taste the regular pretzels because everybody knows what those are. But if you haven't seen these pretzel nuggets, I'm going to get a bite out of this, and you can see the peanut butter inside. I didn't bite all the way through the pretzel. Alright, there you go. The peanut butter inside. Chocolate, salty, peanut butter, yummy. Now the peanut brittle, whether you put it on the sheet pan or on your counter, make sure you grease it really well because you want it to come out. If you have a flexible sheet pan, you could do that, and then you can kind of like twist it to pop it loose, and then you just kind of hit it with the back of your butter knife or something harder to kind of break it in chunks. So here we're going to a taste test. You can hear the crispiness of it. So buttery, yummy. I was really worried about making this today. Sorry. It's been humid here the past few days. And if it's humid, it's very hard to make this because it won't set properly and stay airy. But if it's not humid and you get it to the right temperature, you should get a good crunch. I love peanut brittle. That one's my favorite of the Christmas candy. All right, we'll try this little brownie. You can see the layers, the shiny chocolate on top. A little hint of peppermint. Just enough peppermint. That's like really good. To do something different, instead of always doing the nuts and the chocolate and everything, do that little bit of different with the mint. Really good. I've never put the mint in there before. I'm glad I did. It's really good. All right, get a napkin real quick. All right, I hope you give these recipes a try. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully we'll get some more Christmas treats out for you. See you later. Thanks.